Welcome back. This is Marc Rudov. Happy Father's Day, June 16th, 2024. I couldn't help but do this segment because I saw Bill Maher's segment he did on Friday about Father's Day, and I thought it was especially good. I disagreed with his opening statement and his closing statement, and I'll get into that in a second. But let's put some brackets around Father's Day. According to the National Retail Federation, spending on Mother's Day was 40% higher than it was on Father's Day. Is anybody surprised? I'm not. Fathers have become increasingly insignificant over the years. In fact, let's face it, fathers have always played this role where the mother was the most important figure in the household. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. So when you get down on your knee to propose to her and you look up at her and you realize you're making her the boss, that's one of the reasons. One of the other reasons is this phrase, I hate. A happy wife makes a happy life. Really? Is there any corresponding aphorism for a happy husband? No, there isn't. So that's part of what's going on here. Now, I caused a firestorm on October 27th of last year, 20 days after Hamas attacked Israel. There were pro-Hamas riots all over college campuses very, very quickly. And what I said on Newsmax is this.
Why do students feel the way they do? And how did they learn to act this way or to say the things that they do? What's it based on? Our next guest says it's all because they have been radicalized on those college campuses. Branding advisor to CEOs and author of Intra Branding, the keystone of corporate agility, Marc Rudov, joins us along with media strategist and host of the What's Bugging Me podcast, our very own Dennis Neal. All right, Marc, lay it out there for us.
Well, that's right. They have learned it at the schools. It starts in high school, where they're taught that people fall into two groups, the oppressors and the oppressed. 51% of Gen Z said that the Hamas attacks on Israel were justified. This is the same bunch of morons who think that men can have babies. They learn this in school from their radical teachers and professors. And the other thing that bothers me is that their parents keep sending tuition checks to the poison Ivy League schools. And they're radicalized at school, and the parents don't say anything. One thing that's missing from all of this is the ass-kicking father. One of the reasons that I never got into trouble was because I was afraid that my father would kick my ass. This guy is extinct. That's right. The problem in our culture is the lack of an ass-kicking father. And that's essentially what Bill Maher was saying, but he took a lot longer to say it than I did. Watch this.
If you really want to give your father something he'll treasure forever, give him permission to be a dad like dads used to be. And before you start in with, but Bill, what do you know about it? You're not a parent. Yeah, I don't give blowjobs either, but I can tell when someone is doing it wrong. So no, I don't have kids, but I sit next to yours at restaurants. I see parents in stores kowtowing to brats like they're congressmen groveling before Trump. I've seen a 7-year-old ram a shopping cart into someone's coccyx and the parent just shrugs and gives a look like, kids, what are you gonna do? Raise them right. That's what you can do. For as long as I've had a television show, the issue of parents overindulging their children has been a topic of discussion. So it's not like it's new. But it hasn't gotten better either. We were talking about trophy syndrome in 1993, and then it was helicopter parenting, and then bulldozer parenting. And now we have gentle parenting, or as it used to be known, negotiating with terrorists. British author Sarah Ockwell-Smith, who coined the term, said, the key here really is thinking, would I like it if someone did this to me? If the answer is no, then why would you do it to your child? Because they're a child? Would I like it if someone stripped me naked and plopped me down in a tub of water? No, but with a kid, that's just bath time. I keep hearing how parenting is so hard these days. Yeah, because you're making it hard. Gentle parenting, it's like a Taco Bell breakfast. The reason it feels wrong is because it is. And it's ruining lives on both sides of the equation. Parents, it's ruining your lives because you've made yourselves a butler to a 5-year-old. And the kids, because the results are in, and all this letting the kids run the show, path of least resistance child rearing, is harming them. The average high school kid today has the same level of anxiety as the average psychiatric patient in the early 1950s. A recent survey of employers found that about 1 in 5 recent college graduates brought their parents with them to a job interview. Our kids are crippled with anxiety because they haven't been properly prepared for a world that doesn't revolve around them. Almost 10% of college students claim to have PTSD. From college, the cradle of safetyism, the home of safe spaces and trigger warnings and policing offensive words. You're not supposed to get PTSD in college. You're supposed to get an STD. And that kids need structure and authority. Of course they think they have traumatic stress disorder when they get to college if before they left the house, they never heard the word no. Never heard you're wrong. And boundaries. Jesus, yes, boundaries. Sex dolls set more boundaries than today's parents. This is why the traditional dad, the trad dad, needs to make a comeback. Not all the way back to the 1950s psychopath who never said he loved you and hit you with a belt, no. But just back to the dad who believes that because I said so is a perfectly legitimate answer to any question a child may have. Just back to the dad who would never say anything as stupid as, my kid is my hero. Or where do you want to eat dinner? Or one more story, and then we really have to start thinking about going to bed, okay? Yeah, trad dads don't negotiate. They say, you will apologize to your mother. Don't make me turn this car around. Some things just happen because life is unfair. Clean your room, be quiet, the adults are talking, and it's not all about you. Mostly, a trad dad knows he's your parent, not your friend. Hey, buddy, isn't in his vocabulary. He isn't your emotional support animal. He's simply a guy who understands the job, to raise an adult who can survive in the wild. Let's give dear old dad the gift of being dear old dad. And also, shut up, he's trying to watch the game.
So Bill Maher did a pretty damn good segment. But here's where I disagree with him. His opening statement and his closing statement. His opener was, if you really want to give your father something he'll treasure forever, give him permission to be a dad like dads used to be. Permission. He needs permission to be a father? I think that's part of the problem. If he doesn't assert himself as the father, he ain't going to be one. And his closing statement was, let's give dear old dad the gift of being dear old dad. It isn't a gift. It's a very important role that a man plays. And Bill Maher made that point in 10 minutes in that video. But as you look around the college campuses, and it's gone beyond college campuses, where there are weekly anti-American, anti-Israel riots in the streets, and of course, the father-in-chief, Joe Biden, probably one of the worst fathers in America, has done nothing about it. He's showing everything that a man should not be. So no, a man does not need permission to be a father, and it's not a gift. It's a role. And if he doesn't assert himself, it's not going to happen. And the result will be these Gen Zero kids who don't know anything and hate everything, have no self-control, are triggered by everything. That's your fault. So if you're letting a woman run your life and you're playing a subordinate role, the result will be these terrible kids. That's my happy message for a happy Father's Day. Oh, and if you want to get your father a gift, get him my latest book, Duped Again, Why Sophistry Works. Get it at dupedagain.com. I know it will be after Father's Day because this is Father's Day, but he'll love reading it and he'll understand why there's so much lying in his house, in his workplace, on the golf course, everywhere he goes. Until next time, this is Marc Rudov.